Alright, so I am going to finish chapter 3 for you guys. Not far from Colin, there was a mother and 3 children. Sonia Betch, also 11, got unpacked in her cabin, which she shared with her big sister, Barbara, 14. Barbara tried to open their porthole, but she soon realized it was painted shut. On the upper decks above the waterline, the portholes were blacked out so no lights could shine through. A wartime precaution just like back home. The war had followed them onto the ship. Their 9-year-old brother Derek was in a cabin 2 doors away with their mother. With the threat of war, Mrs. Betch had moved Sonia, Barbara, and Derek out of London to their summer house in a gated neighborhood on the southern coast of England. The children loved their summer house. They played in the sand and had picnics with their Danish nanny, Maida. Every summer afternoon, the ice cream man came to the beach on his tricycle. The adults had fun too. Big parties with dancing and midnight swimming. Living there full time, Sonia and Barbara and Derek rode their bikes all over the neighborhood with complete freedom. Their favorite game was called prison. Some children were the police and some were criminals, and the police chased the criminals all over on their bikes. When caught, the villains were locked up in the shed behind the Betches' house. Sonia and Barbara and Derek did not miss living in London at all. But when the war came to England, it came to the coast where the Betches lived. The Tangmere airfield, the Royal Air Force fighter station, was right nearby. Derek and his friend used to watch the planes take off and land. When the Germans started bombing the airfields, there were dogfights in the sky right above them, even during the day, and planes sometimes crashed nearby. When Derek saw a plane go down, he would hop on his bike and pedal as fast as he could to the scene. He was often the first one there and had a good view of the planes. He witnessed so many crashes he could tell the smell of British oil from German oil. Afterward, he'd gather pieces from the downed airplanes. He had quite a collection of bits of German aircraft and sharp shrapnel, and even machine gun bullets. He took his treasures to school in a suitcase. "What have you got today?" his classmates would ask. To Derek, it was a big treasure hunt. One day, he brought an actual bomb back home, to the dismay of his mother. "Where on earth did you get that?" Mrs. Betch demanded. Derek didn't think it was such a big deal. It was just an incendiary, not a big bomb. But his mother had it put in the back prison shed and called the police to remove it. Derek was sorry to see the bomb go, but at least he had the rest of his collection. The war wasn't all fun and games, though. Derek also had a close-up view of death. One day, he and his friends saw the burned bodies of English and German pilots who'd crashed. Another day, he heard planes and looked up in time to see a terrible accident. 2 British Spitfires cut each other in half, crashing to the ground. Derek raced to the scene on his bike, but fortunately this time, someone else got there first and blocked his view. One of the pilots had been decapitated as he tried to bail out. So their mother decided to take the children to Canada to live with relatives. Their father would stay in London, running his business. Derek was sorry to leave his home and especially his tabby cat, Tim. But this trip was part of the adventure of the war, and even though he couldn't bring Tim, Derek could bring his favorite toys. Unlike the Corb kids, the paying passengers could bring whatever they wanted. Derek unpacked a big fire truck with a detachable hose and an ambulance with a stretcher inside. He also had a suitcase full of war souvenirs. He couldn't leave that behind. Sonia didn't want to leave either. She would miss her nanny, the beach, and especially her Scotty dog, Mackie. She had been allowed to bring her favorite doll, John, though John had gone to the hospital a few weeks earlier when she had to have her tonsils and adenoids out. He was outfitted with pajamas and a bathrobe exactly like hers. He even had a little suitcase, and now he was going to Canada with her. At 14, Barbara was embarrassed to be leaving. That summer, the whole country, the Betches included, had heard Winston Churchill's rallying cry after British forces were evacuated from Dunkirk when the Nazis invaded France. "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender." To make Barbara feel even worse, her cousin, a Royal Air Force pilot, had accused her family of being rats, leaving a sinking ship. Barbara could see that going to Canada made sense for her younger brother and sister, as well as her mother, but not for her. It seemed like desertion. In fact, Churchill had not been in favor of the Corps program for just this reason, but the Prime Minister let it go through. Some thought because he was too distracted and upset by the fall of France to Hitler, which occurred during the time the Corps decision was being made. In any case, Barbara had no choice. Her mother would not leave her behind. In the cabin with Derek, their mother, Margaret, put her special travel bag in a safe place. It contained what she considered her most valuable items: money, passports, other important papers, and a small, round metal jewelry box. Inside the box, which was lined with green felt, were 4 rings and a diamond brooch. Mrs. Betch also put some water in her travel bag. You never know what might happen. All over the ship, passengers were settling in, and the children were exploring. Everyone was looking forward to setting sail. But the ship would not set sail for Canada that day. It would just sail a little bit away from the docks of the city. German bombers had dropped mines at the mouth of the river Mersey, and the area had to be cleared before ships could head out to sea. The Benares would have to wait out the traffic jam in the river. Before the war, every day at 1 in the afternoon, a cannon was fired from Birkenhead across the river from the Liverpool docks, so ships could check to make sure their chronometers were accurate. With the war on, the 1 o'clock cannon did not fire, but that was when, on September 12th, the SS City of Benares pulled away. It sailed past the Victoria Clock Tower with its 6-sided docker's clock, and farther out into the river toward the bay, and anchored there. The city of Benares would stay near Liverpool at least one more night. Gussie Grimman started writing to her parents before they left the docks. She wanted them to receive a letter as soon as possible. She would make her sisters write too. There was already so much to say. The Grimman girls' letter would be mailed before the ship pulled anchor. Gussie couldn't know that the letters would arrive a week later, along with another letter, this one bringing official and terrible news to the Grimman parents. We'll have to wait till tomorrow to see what the news is. This is a picture of the clock tower. Victoria Clock Tower is the name of that. Alright, and that is the end of chapter 3.